Mahogany Jackson was unalived February 25th, leaving behind a 3-year-old daughter. She was betrayed by her so-called friends.
She came on her own recognizance because she was under the belief that those were her friends.
She was tortured, beaten, handcuffed, dragged around naked, sodomized, all of this in a 24-hour span, and was ultimately shot in the back of the head. The question that everyone is asking, what led up to all of this?
I think they are wanting to fit in, clouding her judgment.
The money had nothing to do with it, and it didn't have nothing to do with no food stamp.
We have all the details, and here's a fun fact. The media is not telling us all of the details on what actually happened.
And you believe that it's stemming from Tasia and her jealousy?
Tasia and her jealousy, Sanaya and her jealousy, everybody and their jealousy.
We're gonna break all this down from all sources in a package that's digestible. Let's talk about it.
It's a matter of opinion. If I'm right, but I'm leaving no for now to go outside, putting chores and obligations on our part.
So on February 25th, videos hit social media showing 20-year-old Mahogany Jackson being yelled at and confronted by a woman with bystanders all around watching. It eventually turned into her and another woman assaulting Mahogany and throwing her to the ground while everyone watched. This took place on Saturday night, February 24th.
Eventually, this led to Mahogany being dragged outside into the streets, them ripping off her clothes and hitting her to the point she said that her attackers had won and to quote unquote, let me go.
She telling her, you already beat my ass.
Basically waving the white flag.
Mahogany was asleep when it all kicked off.
She was asleep when they started attacking her?
Yes, she was asleep. They literally came in there off guard with the bullshit with her. And then the excuse y'all telling is y'all were drunk. In the video, that was after they hadn't did all of that to her. In that video, the clothes Mahogany has on, those are Tasia's clothes. That's Tasia's shirt and Tasia's shorts. It's another reason why Tasia took her page down. Tasia got a picture in both of those, the shirt and the shorts.
And this because they had stripped her out of her clothes and you know.
Yes.
Did whatever they did to her. So they gave her some other clothes to put on. Ariana seems pretty small too. What, she just met her though.
And that was their first time ever meeting. So that's why Mahogany was confused. She ain't never met that girl, ever. Her first time ever seeing her face to face was in that video. Her first time ever talking to her was on three-way with me. So we all sitting on the phone talking, and that's when she told me about the setup.
Now in those videos, it's hard to say how many people were present at the time, but 8 people were taken into custody and were charged. Those 8 are Brandon Pope, 24, Francis Ace Harris, 25, Jeremiah Kodak McDowell, 18, Giovanni Clapp, 23, Blair Green, 25, Tasia Lewis, 26, Ariana Robinson, 23, and Sanaya McCall, 23.
Now on Wednesday, March 13th, they had their preliminary court hearing, and here are the results. Brandon, Francis, and Jeremiah were each initially charged with capital murder during a first-degree kidnapping and capital murder during first-degree sodomy, and are all being held without bond. Investigators said during a bond hearing on March 4th that Harris is believed to have fired the fatal shot. Meanwhile, Giovanni, Blair, and Sanaya were charged with felony murder, first-degree kidnapping, and first-degree sodomy, while Tasia was charged with felony murder. Tasia and Giovanni were also initially charged with second-degree assault, but Giovanni's assault charge was reduced from second-degree to third-degree assault, which is a misdemeanor. The 8th suspect, Ariana, was charged with felony murder, kidnapping, according to police. She was present at the hearing on Wednesday, but her case was bound over by another judge.
Now, let me be very, very clear about something. The full video of this attack shows that more people need to be arrested because 8 people is a far cry from what really took place of this heinous attack that actually ended Mahogany's life. So I just want to be very, very clear on the fact that justice is not just these 8 people, but everybody that partook in this heinous act.
They got 8 people charged with capital murder, but actually it's about another 7, 8 people who knew about what was going on in these videos was going back and forth. Just being honest, dude.
Now, the details of the things that took place is probably going to make you cringe or probably make you sick to your stomach. Now, remember, everything that we're going to say was recorded by these individuals, it was sent to their associates, and was uploaded on social media. And if I'm not mistaken, there's about 8 videos in total. So on February 24th, Mahogany was lured to a friend's house, or so-called friend's house.
If she'd have knew what they were planning on doing, she wouldn't even went over there. Matter of fact, when Tasia and Mahogany started back talking, all 4 of us were on FaceTime together. And on that FaceTime call, before Mahogany came around, before she said anything, she asked Tasia, looking her dead in the face, she said, bro, are you on the same tight time you was on last year? She said, because if so, bro, I can't do all that with you no more. I ain't trying to do all that. I ain't trying to be on all that. Just leave it where it was. And Tasia looked Mahogany right in her face and told her, I'm not on that tight time, bro. I'm done with it. I let it go.
At that individual's house, they punched her in the head, they spat on her, they also stomped her, they stripped her nude, dragged her outside, and put her in the trunk of a car.
To be more specific, in the video, Tasia was seen taking off Mahogany's shirt, dragging the nude Mahogany by her hair towards the vehicle. Sanaya was seen on the video yelling for someone to pop the trunk, which at this point, Mahogany was then moved to Serenity Apartments, where Tasia and Sanaya were roommates.
Now, once at the new location, Mahogany was forced to perform oral sex on Blair while being held at gunpoint by Tasia and Sanaya, and being told, you better do it right. And if Blair did not, quote unquote, enjoy it, she would be executed. And to make matters even worse, while she was being degraded to do such a despicable act, Sanaya made Mahogany pull down her pants and told Jeremiah to get behind her and begin to penetrate her while she was performing oral on Blair. And while this was going on, ladies and gentlemen, these people were FaceTiming other people and asking them if they want head or do they want their turn, which people literally showed up to get their rocks off.
When I called the person that made the post, because I know them personally, that's when I found out that they were FaceTiming people, asking them if they wanted their dicks up, and they were turning the camera around and showing Mahogany tied up on the floor.
What's even more sad about this situation is the whole time they were torturing this woman, they were sending out the videos, they were uploading it to social media and calling people to come join in. Not one person called the cops. Not one. People are literally watching the video, and instead of calling the cops, they are sending it to each other, talking amongst themselves, and nobody is doing anything about the situation, not looking for help, not calling 911, nothing. If one person, just one, would have immediately called the cops, this woman could possibly still be alive.
Now, it's reported that Mahogany was able to send out a message on Facebook to her mother saying, send the police, apartment 3, held hostage, don't call. But by the time her mother reacted, it was too late. That Monday, February 26th, Mahogany Jackson was discovered shot and killed in the 1700 block of Laurel Avenue by police.
Now, I do have some questions about that message that was sent to the mother, because let's think about it. Mahogany was handcuffed, thrown in the trunk, all of this stuff. How would she have managed to get the phone? I believe that somebody there probably sent the message because they had a guilty conscience of what was going on. And then when we look at the mother, she claimed that she was not in town. She left her phone at home as she was on her way to the airport to pick up a friend. Now, I want you guys to think about this. Who goes to an airport to pick somebody up and don't have their phone on them? How are you going to know where to pick the people up? How are you going to communicate if the flight is delayed or whatever the case may be? So I find it kind of fishy that everything just aligned so perfectly that she had an alibi. And the crazy thing is that it was never confirmed that the mother was where she was.
I guess for me, all of those questions are definitely suspicious. Think about it. If something is going on, one, I'm not going anywhere without my phone. I will turn the car around and go back and get my phone.
Mhm.
Two, like you said, how am I supposed to get in contact with the person that I'm quote unquote supposed to be getting from the airport? Like, I'm not going through 1 to 6 terminals depending on where this airport is. Like, come on. Make it make sense to me. Two, how many people are really sending messages on Facebook? Like, come on. I'm not responding to a Facebook message like I might a regular old text message or a phone call. So yeah, to me, I don't really think it was her trying to reach her mom. I really do think there was somebody with a guilty conscience.
Do you believe that Mahogany sent that message to her mama?
No, and I'm gonna tell you why. The girl I used to talk to told me, and I got those receipts in my phone too. If you need them, she called me. Well, I called her, and she was like, Tasia told me what really happened. I said, "What you mean? What really happened?" So she was like I said, what really went on. She was like, "Well, first off, Mahogany didn't send that message." I said, "I know." She said, "Tasia did." I said, "I figured that." She said, "What make you say that?" I said, "Because Tasia's scary. I keep telling y'all that. As hard as she looking at picture, that's not Tasia, bro. Tasia ass is softer than water."
Now, you heard everything that happened to Mahogany, right? But the question is, why did all of this happen? Why would these women and men do such a heinous act to this woman? Well, we're going to get into that. Now, if you listen in the video when they were confronting Mahogany, you heard the name Blue thrown around several times. You probably can't hear it as clear because all the commotion that's going on and the quality of the video, but you hear the name Blue. And the question that a lot of people was asking was, who is Blue? Blue is a friend of everyone that is involved in this case.
And for everybody in the comments saying I know a lot of details, look at how close I am to the situation. This my ex-best friend, my ex-girlfriend, and then not only that, this is my partner who passed away's cousin. I know everybody. I ain't gonna say everybody. I know Tasia family. I know Tasia kids. I know Ariana family. I know Ariana kids. I know Sanaya family. I know Sanaya kids. I know Ace. I know his kid. I know BG. I know the folks he talked to. I know Mahogany, and I know her family, and I know her child. I know these folks.
And she was most notable for the video that she posted of her turning herself in. Because according to her, people believe that she set everything up. She's the sole reason why this happened to Mahogany. And she did it as a means to protect her own skin because the word is this was actually meant for Blue. Now, it's true that Blue is the centerpiece of all this, but her mother also played a significant, and I mean an intricate part in the events leading up to Mahogany's untimely death. Pay attention. See, Mahogany was jumped by these folks in the past, right? She moved from Birmingham to Jasper as a means to basically escape that life or get away from these people that she were beefing with and try to have a new start. The thing that sped up that process was her mother kicked her out of the house. Now you're asking, what was the reason that she was kicked out of the house? Well, it's alleged that the mother's fiance at the time was actually trying to sleep with Mahogany. That caused friction between the two, so she wind up kicking Mahogany out of the house. This prompted Mahogany to move to Jasper, move into government housing, and start a new chapter in her life. This was confirmed by Mahogany's neighbor in Jasper.
So did she grow up in Birmingham and then move to where you are?
She did. She was down here, I want to say 2 years, because she had gotten some trouble up there, made some enemies.
Apparently, her and her mother got into another altercation back in December of 2023. With that altercation, the mother wound up calling the cops. What was that dispute about? Well, allegedly, Mahogany's mother was selling Mahogany's food stamps. And again, this was confirmed by interview and text messages that her neighbor had with Mahogany and also in that interview. Now, shout out to the Donut Show for providing these receipts. On December 4th, Mahogany Jackson sent a text saying, "I just got out." And the neighbor replied, "Just got out what?" And she said, "Jail." And her response was, "For what, girl? What the F?" And her immediate response was, your mom didn't call me. I would have came and bailed you out. Mahogany's response was, my mom called the police on me. And her response was, for what? And you could see it's kind of covered up, but she said, are you back home? Now, when she sent them receipts, she made sure to cover up this specific section, because even when you look at it on the Donut show, he clearly talks about how it was covered up and she did that intentionally. But if you break it down, it says, because I told her, and then it says selling our food. Now, when you look at this next panel, you see on top, it says selling our food stamps, and yeah, meaning yes, I'm back home. So you can pretty much decipher that she pretty much was saying, hey, I told her to stop selling our food stamps, and yes, I'm home.
The problem about the mother calling the cops, it made Mahogany lose her government housing. Any arrest can result in losing your housing and facing eviction. This again was confirmed by Mahogany's neighbor. Why is this significant? This sent Mahogany back to Birmingham to figure out what her next move was because she had no place to go. So unfortunately, she was back to familiar territory. And the sad part about this, the neighbor kind of blamed herself for what happened to Mahogany.
I had some messages.
You have
She was-
messages from Mahogany?
She was struggling really around Christmas time is when she got arrested for putting her hands on her mom, and that kind of set in motion. My message, I think, was the 23rd. I've got to go back and check, but Mahogany was hurt, that her mom would actually call the police, because where we live in Jasper, it is kind of the hood of Jasper, and it's government housing. So once her mother called the police, that's an automatic eviction because it's considered domestic violence. So it kind of set everything in motion. After that, she had to go back to Birmingham. She didn't have anywhere to go. I would give anything to go back and change it if I could, because then I felt like when she was here, it made her seem like she didn't have anybody. And I do regret that. And I think we all failed. She deserved more support. I think that her wanting to fit in clouded her judgment. She's so desperate. He wanted to fit in somewhere.
Now that we covered how the mother played an intricate role in all of this, let's get back to Blue. Blue, Francis, and Tasia are currently facing charges for a homicide back in 2022. Allegedly, Blue fired a shot at someone's house with a baby inside, and that same house was across the street from a school. So with those charges pending, and they see Blue as the weakest link, they look at her as possibly being the snitch. So they pretty much wanted to get the drop on Blue. What happened was Mahogany heard about the drop. She told Blue about the drop. And from there, Ariana was on the phone when Mahogany was telling Blue about this. Ariana went back and told the crew, and that's when they put the hit out from Mahogany.
So this is a lie that these people were going around robbing people, setting people up. And this is what I heard about Mahogany, that she was one of the money getters. She knew how to get the dudes with money, and she knew how to bring the money to the dudes. And a lot of the girls was jealous because she was
No,
loose out.
no,
This
no.
is not true. Not true.
I ain't gonna say it's not true, but how people are portraying it is not true.
Knowing Tasia, Ariana, and Samaya, did you ever think that they would be capable of something like this?
Hell no, them three of the scariest I know.
Look though, listen to what I'm trying to tell you right now. The whole fight was about a gun that was missing and that somebody was trying to set you up.
That was about a gun. The same gun that was used to kill them 4 boys over there in Smithfield. Mahogany took it from a dude named Westside. But the gun wasn't Westside gun, it was Ace gun. So that's what started it. The video everybody see of my name being said, that was 24 hours after they had did all that stuff. That was the end.
And you believe that it's stemming from Tasia and her jealousy?
Tasia and her jealousy, Sanaya and her jealousy, everybody and their jealousy, and just the whole situation.
Absolutely. And then the gun. Okay, she took the gun.
Most
That was like the
definitely the
final.
gun.
That was fun, like the final straw. Okay, now this is stealing from us or whatever, so we got
Yeah.
to get her back.
At the end of the day, Mahogany telling Blue about the setup is what set things in motion of everything else that followed on February 24th.
As you can see, there's a lot of moving parts to the story and other details that were left out, but that's because this video was solely focusing on Mahogany's story and why everything occurred, but in a condensed and digestible format.
Now, let me say this. We all know Mahogany was not an angel. She was not a saint by any means necessary. She was out running licks with these people, committing crimes, all of this stuff. But at the end of the day, what this woman went through does not warrant or justify anything she went through because of her past. Because there's going to be a lot of people that's like, oh, she wasn't an angel, she wasn't a saint. That's fine. We get that. But does that warrant what she went through? We're talking 24 hours of constant beating, getting raped, sodomized. And for those who don't know like the intricacies of what being sodomized is, that's a foreign object that's penetrating you. That's what it comes down to. So on top of them raping her, they found whatever possible to penetrate this woman. And it doesn't even go into detail where actually they sodomized her. So it could have been anything. Just think if this was your loved one, your daughter, whoever. Just think about it. And I know that it says that they got her inebriated. I'm starting to think maybe it was a good thing that she got inebriated. And hear me out. Because her being inebriated actually probably made it not as painful. Her getting hit may not have had the full impact or the full trauma or full hurt that those blows, that the graping, that the sodomy would have had, the effects it would have had if she wasn't inebriated. So, with that being said, these charges getting lowered or some charges getting dropped on these individuals, to me, what's there to drop? You clearly have video evidence of everything that took place. So I don't see anything should have got dropped. They should have pressed everything under the sun on these individuals. And I don't know what the family's going through, but I know if I was in their shoes, I don't know what could be done that would make me pursue further avenues of finding closure. Because real talk, if you leave it up to me, the only way I would get a smidget of finding some type of closure would be for every single one of them. And I'm not talking about just the 8. I'm talking about all the people that came in to join when they FaceTime these people, all the people that they didn't show that got their kicks in, all of these people that partook in this. I want them to experience the same 24 hours that my daughter, my loved one, wife, whatever the case may be, experienced. And then we could start looking at what your prison time will be. And even with that, what she experienced, I would want y'all to experience that also while you're incarcerated. And I want life sentences. And I don't want the death penalty because death is too good for these individuals. For you to take 24 hours to brutally torture somebody and then off them. And some people gonna say, "Yo, I may sound twisted, but you would have been better off just offing her right then and there." I'm not condoning violence or anything, but I would have been I would have looked at it as more humane if they would have just offed her right then and there. Because let's look at just regular animals. Animals, you want to kill them in the most humane way as possible. and she couldn't even get that. And the sad part about it is that when you look at that video, when they was confronting her, you could see it written on her face that she knew this was it. From her demeanor, the way she was talking, when they knocked her to the ground and she got up with her lip busted, everything basically spoke saying she knew she was not coming out of this alive.
And you see her in the video, she's terrified. She's scared to death. She knew. And when she fell on the floor and got up and looked at the camera and her lip was bleeding, you could tell she's scared. She was all by herself. Not one person in that room stood up for her. Nobody. I can't even think about her being there alone and scared. Everything they did.
With that being said, I hope these people suffer in the most inhumane way possible. Erica P., your thoughts?
I think you took most of the words out of my mouth. I don't have nothing else to say. Like, you really said everything I was going to say that I was thinking about.
Let's keep that fight and that justice for Mahogany Jackson going on until justice is served and everybody involved is held responsible and held to the fullest extent of the law. And hopefully the family can find closure and start the process of healing. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning into another episode of Matter of Opinion. If you enjoyed this video, consider hitting that subscribe button and clicking the notification bell so that you could be notified for more content like this. And also, don't forget to smash that like button, share it amongst your friends. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we will catch you on the next episode. Peace.
Peace.
It's a matter of opinion.